Well, I learned generosity from my mom. My dad, his walk with Jesus was a little here and there. My mom was a real godly woman of faith. And we were a middle-class family growing up. And I remember our church, when I was middle school, high school, was just exploding in the city of Atlanta. We were going from a little bitty core that was the result of a church split to a ministry that literally today, I think, is still touching the lives of people in every nation through the ministry of our pastor at that time. And we were buying property in downtown Atlanta, expanding our footprint in the city, moving in every direction to reach more people. And so there were these moments of trust and sacrifice because we wanted to pay cash. I remember that. We wanted to pay cash for everything. God's going to provide, and then we'll take the step. So when God stirs like that, you're not just looking for what's the 10% of my check this week that I'm supposed to give, but you're thinking, God's about to take ground. We have the opportunity to go with him. What can we do? And people were giving their boats and the silver platters that were tarnished in the bottom drawer of the dining room that had not seen the light of day in 15 years. And I remember my mom, it was almost every other Sunday, my mom was pulling something else out of the house and taking it to the giving at church. I remember my mom wanted to play the violin. She dreamed of being a violinist. She was not very good. I remember her practicing, and the rest of us were like, oh Lord, please clarify that this is not a calling for my mom. But she had bought this violin. She loved that violin. And I remember the Sunday that she took that violin down in the giving and put it in the giving and said, I don't know what you can sell it for, but if God's moving forward, I want to be a part of what God is doing. Well, I was just an idiot teenager, probably 17 rows back, goofing off in the service. But I was watching my mom, and while I was watching my mom, God was shaping my heart. And so I owe a lot of God landing on my life in generosity to her modeling, but I owe all of that to just a clearer revelation of the cross of Jesus. And I think that all of us who've grown up around faith in Christ, the Christian faith, have a concept of the cross. But there are layers in life where God opens our eyes to see that this isn't a thing, this was my thing. This wasn't just some cross, this was my cross. This wasn't just an act in humanity, this was an act of God on my behalf. And when I saw the cross and began to see the cross clarifying in my heart as a college student, as a young adult, things started shifting for me. And that's where I think the tide turns for us, because we are now the recipients, not of generosity, we're the recipients of freedom, of life, of redemption, of salvation. And when that moves from being a theory to being a reality in your life, then you know that it's like the hymn writer said, if the whole realm of nature was mine, that would be an offering far too small. And that's what grace does when it lands on your life. And generosity, it may be influenced by a parent or by a mentor or by a friend, but grace is unlocked by the gospel of Jesus Christ.